Jeremy Corbyn struggled to defend his position on Syrian airstrikes during a heated interview with Andrew Marr this morning. The Labour leader enraged his critics today as he called for a «war powers» law that would ban British leaders from taking military action without a vote from MPs. Mr Corbyn admitted that as a potential Prime Minister, he would never send in UK forces without the backing of the UN, despite Russia holding veto power on the Security Council. Speaking to Marr this morning, the embattled leader dismissed yesterday's airstrikes in Syria, carried out by France, the UK and the US. BBC Corbyn called for a «war powers» law that would ban British leaders from taking military action. The bombing raids were in response to an alleged use of chemical weapons in Douma earlier this week. The Labour leader hit out at this use of military action, insisting he does not believe UK strikes on Syria were legal. During the interview, Mr Corbyn repeatedly said questions on the use of military action were the responsibility of the United Nations, despite previous Russian vetoes on Syrian action. This prompted a frustrated Marr to ask, if you were Prime Minister, you would never ever authorize the use of military force, would you? Mr Corbyn said, no one would ever say never. Marr fired back, but it's almost never, though. The Labour leader responded, there has to be a process where the objective is to bring about peace, to bring about resolution, to bring about a political solution. I think Parliament should have a say in this, and the Prime Minister could quite easily have done that. What we need in this country is something more robust, like a War Powers Act, so that governments do get held to account by Parliament for what they do in our name. War powers law would strip Theresa May and future Prime Ministers from taking military action. BBC Corbyn said he would never send in UK forces without the backing of the UN. If you were Prime Minister, you would never ever authorize the use of military force, would you? Andrew Marr. His remarks on the Marr Show set off a furious reaction from sitting Tory MPs. Brandon Lewis tweeted, shocking failure by Corbyn on Marr to condemn Syrian regime, or Russia, or to recognize what has actually been happening. He knows full well Russia has a veto at UN. Corbyn seems more worried about upsetting Russia than about preventing use of chemical weapons. Corbyn seems determined to obfuscate to avoid showing leadership on chemical weapons in UK defending itself or most vulnerable in the world. Another Tory MP, Nick Bowles, said, truly Jeremy Corbyn is now Putin's useful idiot. As a permanent member of the Security Council, Russia has a veto. So Corbyn is saying he will only back action that Putin supports. One of the Labour's own MPs, the long-standing Corbyn critic John Woodcock, said the comments were deeply troubling. Theresa May will give a statement to Parliament on Monday, setting out her case for military action.